Welcome to Business Prowess with Rafael and Dr. Andrea. Our show will bring you the best insights, ideas, and inspiration from successful entrepreneurs and CEOs in the business world. Don't miss out on the opportunity to learn from the best and stay ahead of the game. Sifu Rafael is the founder of 5 unique shows. He's a fitness professional, solutions expert, executive coach, and head instructor at Max Martial Arts and Fitness in New York. Dr. Andrea Adams Miller is an award-winning international keynote speaker, best-selling author, and CEO of the Red Carpet Connection Publicity, Publishing, and Talent Agency, and CEO of IgniteYourRelationship.com. Known as the Dream Maker, she makes visionaries' dreams come true, bigger than they ever dare to desire.
Well, good morning. I got to tell you what a great morning it is here in New York, and I know it's in Florida, and I think it's in California as well. Dr. Andrea Adams Miller should be logging on with us. She's having technical difficulties, but we're here. There she is. Hey. Hi. You made it happen, right? Winners no vote. Find a way to win.
The funny part is it's just not me having technical difficulties. It's Los Angeles. We lost power for a little bit of time, so that was fun.
Look at that. We're happy you're here with us, and we have an incredible guest coming on with us. So let's go ahead, because today's communication topic is basically communication is your competitive advantage, and I love that. So let's go ahead and bring an expert in communication as well. Sabine, welcome to the show. How are you?
Oh, thank you for having me, Sifu. I am fantastic.
Love it.
So what are your thoughts on communication is your competitive advantage? Because this is your wheelhouse, if you will.
Yeah. Well, as a former actress and director, I told stories, and it is all about communication, how we communicate our message, either in a play, but also in real life. We are on all the time, and we communicate in many different ways. Of course, through our words that we speak, but also how we show up through our body language, through our voice, how do we speak? Are we excited? Are we scared? And so many different ways how we communicate. And when we understand that, and when we master the art of communication, we can get whatever we want in life.
Absolutely. I love that. Well, I'm going to let Dr. Andrea follow that, because she actually has been on many stages performing and doing all these great fun things. So Dr. Andrea.
Well, thank you. Sabine, I'm so excited to hear you say more. Theater is very important to me. It's a huge staple in my life. I've had the pleasure of being in 84 different productions throughout my lifetime, and see a lot of theater a lot. So, in fact, I was laughing the other week. In 11 days, I had gone to 2 concerts, a comedy show, and 7 different performances as a viewer or as a watcher. And people are like, how do you do? I'm like, no, you just make a commitment to go all the time. And I just saw Beauty and the Beast at Pantages here in Hollywood. And I had never seen that on stage before. So that was quite lovely to go and see.
I directed that one time. Yeah. So.
Directing is such a magical thing. Let's use that as an example. So, in that show, here is, Belle, who is in conflict because she's held prisoner there in the castle. And yet she sees that even though this beast is being beastful, she ends up finding him endearing as well. And I have seen shows where when you have to switch and be like, have that love-hate relationship, not all actors know how to communicate that, especially when we're observing and she's not speaking at the time. So I'd love for you to talk about the direction in that and how you bring up that emotion for people.
That is a fantastic question because you are right on. And I just the other day gave a presentation and I talked about that very thing. What does set the okay actor apart from the award-winning actors?
Yeah.
And it's, of course, there is talent, but that's not all. You have to make sure, first of all, it's your uniqueness, and everyone is unique. Then the skills that you learn and the practice that you do, but always stay authentic. Those award-winning actors, just say Meryl Streep, for example. I mean, she had 21 Academy Awards nomination,
Really?
and she won 3 of those, ever being the highest. And she can slip into different roles, but she still stays who she is as a person, at heart and authentic and real. It's not quote unquote acting. Now I'm acting. No, you just be yourself. You just speak a character's lines, right? So in that respect is how we show up and how we communicate that. But it all starts from the heart and being you. And that is the difference between how someone, even in the entrepreneurial world, connects with their clients and others not. So one of them at least.
Yeah. And Sifu, the reason I brought that up is because in business, we'll often see people attempt to connect or build rapport with someone. And some people can act it and seem real and legitimate, and other people are just fall flat on that whatsoever. And the authenticity of really actually caring about people, it does feel deeper. So if you and the people who are good at acting yet don't look like they're acting sometimes can carry that through. So you have to be a really good business person to be able to look for other clues that aren't maybe happening through the words and their actions, but maybe other actions in their body. And it really becomes a really interesting way to look and view to look for authenticity in how someone's behaving. Because if they're an Academy Award winning actor in entrepreneurship and rapport, sometimes you can get a little hoodwinked.
And I want to just add one more thing because you tipped on it, and that is the energy. When we are real, that is an energy that connects without a spoken word or without saying anything. And that is also the difference especially when you are on stage. And I've been on many stages. There is a energy and a connection to the audience. And when you are able to create that energy, magic starts to happen. And that is the same thing when we communicate in our business. And sometimes people don't realize that.
Well, Sifu has a beautiful, authentic energy all the time. He is he you just really care about people, and how you show up is just amazing, Sifu. So
I second that.
I'm playing my role. What can I tell you?
I'm going to clean my screen. There we go.
So I love the fact that we brought acting into the business aspect of it, because the other one that we didn't mention yet, and it's really interesting, is a method actor, somebody who embodies the person they're going to play, and they stay in role for the whole time. They go out to dinner, they go to sleep, they wake up thinking they're that person. And so when we embody a role, what are we doing with that role? Are we being authentic to ourselves as we play that role? Because I'm a leader at home, I'm a leader socially, I'm a leader in business. But how do I treat people as a leader in all those 3 different areas? Because if I have to come into an environment that's a work related environment, do I treat people differently than I would treat my partner or my children or my friends? I think not. So for me, I am playing the role of me. That's the best role I can ever play. And you talked about that, Sabine, about being authentically you, even if you're playing a different role. But yes, I can play the role of a business leader in a business setting, but it's how I treat the people, right? I can treat my friends a certain way, but I'm still me. Same thing when it comes to my partner, whether it's your husband, your wife, whatever it is. You don't necessarily switch roles, but you switch the way you communicate. And that's where I believe communication is your strength. How do you treat people in different scenarios, in different environments? And then the most important one is, how do you treat yourself in your communication skills? What do you say to yourself to make you even more powerful to yourself, not to others? Because I don't ever come across as I'm powerful to you. You make that decision. I can't make it for you. So that's my take on
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And what you said last, how we communicate with ourselves to ourselves is the basis for everything. And the self-talk that we do. And oftentimes when I work with my clients, they are afraid to step up in front of an audience or in front of the camera. And there are so many underlying things that contribute to that fear. And one of them is how they talk to themselves, especially before you go on. What do you say to yourself? Oh, I hope I don't mess up. Oh my God, what if I forget my lines? Or what if they go through all those scenarios that is terrifying to begin with, right? And so I always say, you know what, we could flip it. What if I am so powerful that people actually say yes to my offer? What if? And I'm good. And even if I make a mistake, that is okay too, because people see I am just human. And that's how you do it. And that's how you show up. Just be yourself.
I often find it. I have no fear of being on stage. I know I had it early on in my life, and for myself, I became unafraid of being on stage because I think I had like screwed up, messed up, or whatever different times, and realized people wanted me to do well. And so even if I got laughed at or something, I was laughing at me too, like, and it happens. And then I just forgave myself. But now that I work on neurocognitive, advising, I work with people on, NLP and hypnosis and different models of the brain to help reframe things. I have tools for them to make it faster than the years of me trying to do that and overcoming it. So it doesn't. So I have no fear of it, and I think it's because I know at the end of the day, regardless of what I could do, I can fix it. It can be made to be different. I can adjust on the fly. I know I have that skill set to do that. And what I've learned is everybody has that ability to do that, even if they hesitate or freeze frame for a moment. It's only a moment and it'll pass. And I often use the analogy of Barry Manilow, which is perfect because I just saw him again. Barry Manilow is, really pushing it there, and age, and still performs. Now he did just do some cancellations, and for those who are just hearing that, he won't be playing again until his Westgate thing in Vegas in October. But when he sings, sometimes he forgets the words. And people pay a lot of money to go see his show. And you know what's funny? No one ever asks for their money back. What do? They start singing the words for him, and he goes, "Oh yeah, thank you." And so,
Isn't that amazing? I saw him live in Las Vegas at the Westgate
yeah.
2 years ago, 2 or 3 years
good.
ago.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's wonderful to see a person. And of course, he could retire, but this is his passion.
Yeah.
And you see that. And the people who come to watch him, most of them have been with him for a long time. And, we are in that age range. Yeah, we saw him when he was in his height during that time. But what I was saying is he is who he is.
Yes.
And that human connection is what counts and what make people love or hate or reject or say yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And my whole point of mentioning him is that, if somebody is that, a performer and yet still can flub up after all these years, all those performances, and then just laugh and then go on. Why can't you? Why can't
Hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. We're talking about performances. I actually went to a barbecue. Oh my gosh, it had to be maybe 12 years ago. I walk in and I see Barry Manilow, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it was a impersonate,
Oh, fun.
and he was amazing. I actually thought I was in a concert in somebody's barbecue because he also sang, and I thought I'm looking at Barry Manilow. He impersonated him so well. He took on the character, even when he sat down with us. And I felt like I was hanging out with Barry Manilow, but it was this other guy, right? So, but what a great performance he gave, not only when he was singing for us, but when he sat down, he embodied the character. And
Hmm.
sometimes in business, we don't do those things. We we bring problems from home. We bring problems that we've had outside, and we allow that to seep into our business relationships. And that's something that is a hard thing for a lot of people to understand, that you have to learn to separate sometimes business from family life, from friendships. And so many people make the mistake of mashing them all together. And then when they have to maybe fire their friend, it becomes a nightmare. It
Hmm.
becomes turmoil. They have anxiety. Meanwhile, and it's okay to have friendships, but we have to understand. And even when we start a friendship, and I've done it in the past, I said, listen, first and foremost, you work for me. I'm okay with a friendship, but I want to let you know that if you don't hold up your end of the bargain, it's out of my hands.
Hmm.
So I make sure that that communication is clear, because if I have to even reprimand them, not necessarily fire them, but they're like, and I've had people say to me, "Oh, it's okay, Sifu." I'm like, no, don't forget that you still work here. This is not a friendship, even though I love you. I think you're incredible, but you still have to do your due diligence.
Mm.
So I think there's a fine line that some people don't know how to keep the, and I'm going to call it, you can't cross the line.
Hmm.
And I call that what? You have to create barriers. You have to create um, standards that you believe in business.
Hmm. It's interesting that you said that because uh, I also often work with people that I know and like, and just recently a friend said, "Hey, I want to publish my book, and I would like to have you as the publisher." And I have been debating too. It's like, I don't want to. If there is some friction, that our friendship suffers, and sometimes you have to make that discernment, how I say that, for yourself. Is it worth doing this? Is the friendship uh, greater? Or, and if you say yes to a relationship, there have to be very clear boundaries,
Mhm.
and there have to be an expectation in writing. I've done the mistake before, just a handshake. Sometimes that can be very dicey. But in writing, this is what it is. And you have to stay on your end of the bargain. I have to stay on my end of the bargain. And that is business. So I totally agree, Sifu. It's not easy, but yeah, there has to be a clear communication so that you don't muddle it together.
I love that you brought that up, because
Yeah.
I lost way too much money to somebody saying, you know me, I'm going to do right by you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in contrast, I am a person of my word. If my word, and this goes to show that I am very old fashioned, my word is my bond. If we shake on it, I'm not breaking it, right? And so now, because I learned so many lessons, because I believed people, and then when you communicate and somebody's like, I will never do you wrong, and guess what? Now I'll shake your hand. I'll say, but also I'm going to hand you the pen. Here you
Yeah.
go. Let's
That's
let's
right.
sign on the dotted line, because our friendship can suffer if we don't go back to this. And if you believe that our friendship is worth it, then you'll sign on the dotted line, just like I will. I'm protecting myself, but I'm also protecting you in case you have any doubt.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm.
But here's one other thing what sometimes makes it challenging: handshake or even on the dotted line. And that is, people oftentimes don't want to break that contract or the
Mm.
handshake. But if money problem comes into the way, then they cannot do anything about it because they don't have the money to pay you, for example, right?
Mhm.
And that's oftentimes what I found, that can be a very big friction in the communication, because that is a third thing in there that sometimes, not always, but sometimes can be out of our control. Just want to put this up there.
Well, money is an eliminator, isn't
Yeah.
it? How many marriages have been broken because of money,
Yeah.
right? I've heard so many stories, even of people I know, that the husband was the big earner, and all of a sudden he lost his position. And now it's the wife who's the big earner. And now he has to follow her guides, and he can't handle it because his ego's too big. And all of a sudden they broke up. And so, yeah, money is an eliminator, but also money can be a facilitator,
Mm-hmm.
right? And we can, when a contract is drawn the right way, it serves both parties, and it should, right?
Yeah.
And when we say it's a win-win, some people say it's a win for me and a win for me, but when it's a win for you and me,
Yeah.
that's a different thing, right? So when I'm wary of people who say, "Don't worry, it's a win-win," I'm going to go, for who? For who?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, we had a discussion yesterday about money and relationships because often people will blame money as the problem, and it's not money. Money is actually just energy. Is just sometimes
Neutral.
it's paper, sometimes it's a coin, sometimes it's invisible crypto things that we can't even see. And at the same time, it's our relationship to money in the time and in the moment, especially if you're under stress. So
Mm-hmm.
if the money meant loyalty, or if the money meant maybe at the time money didn't mean anything, but now somebody has a medical emergency, or something happens to mom's house and they need help, and then now they don't have that money. So even though they may have forgiven or said, I don't need to be paid, now all of a sudden there's a gap in money in their mind. Oh, I gave, or I didn't collect or take that money, and now I need that money and I should have. So then now it's the story that plays in their head that allows that money situation to now be a thing where it wasn't a thing before.
Mm.
So if I think the best way to decide if a friendship would make it or not make it is seeing how they've been in distress before, when it comes, like if they've ever, how they handle stress just in general. How would they
Mm-hmm.
handle it? How would it be? How do they show up anyways? What happens? How are things going to relate? Is there an expectation? It's more of the expectations. So
Mm.
even if we write them in the contract, what do those expectations mean emotionally to people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's interesting that you said that even if you write it in a contract, contracts are being broken all the time too. And then is the question, do you go in front of a judge and fight for it, or do you let it go? And what I found for myself, more of the time, I let it go because it is not worth the stress that I'm under. And trust me, I have gone through very challenging situations where something was broken. And even from one of my businesses that I had, it was a sale that was like on a handshake. First of all, never again. But then 5 minutes before noon, they backed out. And we already made all the decisions and people already moved on. And I lost a lot of business. And even one time through the financial crisis that hit here in the US in 2008, 2009, I lost my lake house because I am an entrepreneur, and I always, if I have a dream, if I have a new vision, I invest into that. And I invested into something, maybe I could have done it better. And that goes right, Andrea, what you said. At the end, it's our responsibility. And I don't blame anything, not even the situation. But here is one thing that I've learned. And if this can be some relief maybe to someone who goes through it right now, when I was at the darkest time, and I share that in my new memoir, Gumption, I still remember I was in that lake house the last night before we had to take the key to the bank, right? And it was just a blew up mattress. It was freezing cold. And we were laying there, my husband and our two dogs who came cuddled up. But I had one realization. I said to myself, you know what? It doesn't matter if I have money or not. As long as I have my loved ones, in that case, it was my husband, my two canine children, I could sleep under a bridge and I wouldn't care. Of course, it's a little metaphor, right? But that's it. And guess what? Every hard situation is a door opener for something else.
Mm-hmm.
And that door opener was moving to Florida, sunny Florida. So, what can be better than that? So, I just wanted to point that out in the topic of money and how we communicate that situation to ourselves and how we think and talk about that. That's the inner dialogue and the communication that is in our control only, and it can change everything.
Yeah. Oh, I really profess often that wealth is more than money and assets, although those are wonderful things and I want you
Yeah.
to have them. I want everybody to know how to have them and how to have them more, and that there is enough for everybody. Uh, at the same time, the richness and other things are really interesting. And I've had the pleasure of working with different, a couple billionaires and several multimillionaires over my lifetime. And it's also interesting in how they communicate differently as well. Often I find that they've expressed a little bit of loneliness because as they have money, people treat and talk to them differently and they want to be seen the same. And often it seems like almost everybody that I've worked with has had some phase where the money was like they had a friend of mine and I were just talking on Facebook, and like he said, I went through the phase I needed to have the Lambo and the fancy clothes, and now he's like, I'm into 1 horsepower, and he has a picture of himself on a horse, and I had expressed to him that that's I wear nothing name brand, very rarely unless I super love it, because I have worked in sponsorship. So if you didn't pay me to wear it, I'm not wearing it. And so I'm like super non-brand. I used to wear all the gold and bling. I rarely do now. Like you never know that I do anything or have anything because I don't talk about it. And your book Gumption there, it does make me giggle because like I used to be very bold in all the things that I do. And now I kind of like don't ever even talk about it. My friend was like, you need to like talk about all these things again. And I realized that in a way I've stepped back into being, I'm okay that people don't see me or talk to me or know what I'm doing, because I'm more observing and listening. I don't have to be center stage anymore.
Mm-hmm.
There comes, and so when you look at when you show up to an event, sometimes the people that you want to meet at, whether it's a networking party or a luncheon that looks like it has Barry Manilow, or you're at a play or a theater, and the audience who you talk to is often the people that are kind of laying back a little bit are often the people now I realize, and I often always did that when I was at an event because I wanted to help bring them in, were the people of maybe a different caliber of how they function and act in the world, and they're observing more than trying to be seen.
But you know what you just said, Andrea, was also very interesting. Yeah, we don't have to stay in the spotlight. I don't have to stay in the spotlight. But at the same time, you have so much wisdom. And for me to write this book, Gumption, I didn't want to write the book. I was actually not ready to write the book, but someone else. I had a podcast interview one day, and she came up to me afterwards, said, Sabine, you need to write a book. And I said, I already wrote three books, right? And she said, no, you need to write your memoir, because what you shared with me, it was so powerful, and all the golden nuggets and the wisdom, it would be selfish to hold it back. And that is when I decided, well, she's right. And then one thing led to another. There was a New York publisher that was right there at that event that I attended, where I gave a talk and my interview. And she offered me, or they offered me, a book deal right on the spot when they heard my story. So yeah, you have it.
That's incredible. That's incredible.
Yeah, it's often those stories that we don't tell. It's very interesting you mentioned, because that was a conversation that came around. Is because I happened to mention working with someone or doing something and meeting some people, and they're like, "You, who else have you met?" And so I started going off the list, and they're like, well, how did you meet them? Like, it's the stories about how we met, not about the fact that they're famous and I happen to be in the same spot. It's about how the conversations went and who they were, and all of that. And Sifu, you've had the pleasure of doing that in multiple worlds, your martial arts world, as well as your entrepreneurship and your speaking. There's so many different opportunities to share these stories of the depth of people that are beyond their celebrity. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, without a doubt. You talked about the stages. You talked about all these different things that we think about when we think of business, when we think of leadership. Because anybody can be the CEO of their own company, even if they work at Taco Bell, right? And it's believing in you, that you are the CEO of your decisions, because you can decide not to go to work today. You can decide to do a better job at your job, even if you're just a sweeper. You can decide to be a better plumber, or you can decide to be like every other plumber out there. So your decisions are based on your CEO thinking. You put on that cap every morning and you go, I am going to be leading me to greatness. And what I want to share with you guys right now, it's a video because we're having an event where we're having incredible people coming in. Take a look.
The city never sleeps, and neither do the dreamers who build its pulse. From every corner of the globe they come. Visionaries, creators, leaders, each carrying a spark ready to ignite the world. This is not an event. It's a revolution of rhythm and reason. A symphony of minds. A movement of momentum. Sifu Rafael, Lancelot, Jose Escobar. Together they set the stage for brilliance. This is the NYC Experience Mastermind. Light up the city. They coming from the east, coming from the west. Knowledge on deck, put the truth to the test. Leaders in motion, hearts in sync, dropping wisdom so deep it'll make you think. They bring stories, sweat and flame, different faces, one shared name. Elevation, that's the sound. NYC Experience Mastermind, where purpose is found.
I get excited every time I hear that.
That's amazing. Yeah. Mastermind programs are so important. They are powerful. Yeah.
They sure are. They
Very
sure are.
much indeed.
The reason I started doing all these events and virtuals and all these things is because I've gone to so many events. I know Dr. Andrea, you and I both have been at events together. We go to events all the time, right? But the reason I started my own events is because I was tired of being sold at an event. Every event I went to, somebody's trying to sell me their wares and their stuff and this and that, and the next speaker and the next speaker and the next speaker. So I said, I'm going to create events where nobody's allowed to sell from the stage. And if they do, they do it one time because they'll never be invited to come again, right? So the way we created it is to create an environment where if you're a speaker, it's not like, and I've been to many events and a speaker runs in, runs out, and then you don't see them again. So our events, every speaker needs to be present. So they're going to be with us for the 3 days so that you can get to connect and engage with them. And whatever they spoke on the stage, you can ask them questions and you can get definitely deeper into who they are and you get to connect with people. And that's where the communication really comes in. In business, I believe that if you're not connected to someone, sometimes business is shallow. Sometimes it's just the deal, right? And there is an art to creating a great deal, but a lot of people stop at the deal and don't continue the communication after the deal. And then later on, 12 months later, or however long the contract is, now right before it ends, they start talking to you again. And like, wait a minute, what happened to all those 9 months that I've been here and I bought your product? What happened then? You forgot about me and now you want me to renew? Hello?
Mm-hmm.
Did you forget about me? So for me, it's about the connections, but it's also the continued connections.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's one of the things that in business we forget. I had a lady on my show the other day, and one of the things that she said is that she still is connected with her old bosses. She's still connected with people who worked for her, even after she left that company, because the connections are important. And once I said earlier is that you cannot necessarily merge it all together, but there's an art to doing it, because you can have somebody that you work with that you value, but you understand that you're not going to step on each other's toes as well. So I believe communication is your competitive advantage if you know how to use it and don't hurt people along the way.
You said that, and for some reason, I wanted to break out in the past is in the past, but because a lot of times people think that's how life should be, and they misunderstand the message. I think past story, past hurt needs to stay in the past, but people change. People refresh. People are in a different concept, a different era is what I'm trying to say. And this last week, interestingly enough, I've been thinking about doing some things that I have always wanted to do and never fulfilled as a bucket list for myself. And as I was thinking of that, I was running through a list of people in my mind, and I say ironically, it's not ironic. It's obviously very kismet and very universe-centered, the manifestation of things that all of a sudden things happen. Like, so Sifu and I haven't been on for a while. And then here we are today. Like, I'm like, oh, no surprise that we have a show today. And based on a friend of mine who I met in Egypt in 2020 and have not spoke to since 2020, showed up in my, like reaching out to me. Another friend of mine reached out to me about doing this amazing, like $5 million cruise, and I'm like, of course he reached out this week. This is perfect. This is the connections from the past, the people that I've been thinking about, like, hey, I need to reacquaint to you. And because what are you doing that's amazing that I can assist with, vocalize, share the love is coming around. And, it's a really beautiful moment when you look back into your past and revisit the friends and acquaintances, workers, coworkers, all of those things, because you're in a different place. And so they probably are too. And if they're not, you quickly realize that and realize maybe this is not the time to reacquaint, but you don't have to hang out with them forever. A 20-minute phone call could probably assess that, whether there's a new connection again, or to go ahead and let things just slide apart again.
Absolutely. I think reconnecting is a beautiful thing, and sometimes we call it catching up sometimes, but sometimes you're like, oh my God, why did we lose contact? I'm not going to let that happen again. And so the newfound friendship, if you will, to me is a beautiful thing. And sometimes life happens, right? It happens for everybody. It happens for them. It happens for us. But when we can reconnect, and even if it was a business venture, because a lot of people do reach out only when it's time to do business. That's the only time they'll ever reach out. Not, hey, how you doing? I heard that, you got a new puppy or whatever, right? So there is value in reconnecting, but it's the purpose of the reconnection, I think, matters. And it does matter for me, definitely.
Yeah, very true.
Sabine, in your book Gumption, what's the main thing that you want people to get from the word gumption, from the stories in Gumption?
Well, it's, first of all, stories are entertaining. Stories is how we connect and get people to the heart centers. But it's also the golden nuggets that I have learned along the way. And it's an invitation for everyone to see, hey, you're not alone. We all deal with the same, stuff. I don't know if that SH word is appropriate to say here, but this is very true. We all have to deal with things, but there are ways how we can get through it. And Gumption, I gave each letter a meaning, and it stands for something. And the readers who read through that book will find it on their own. And the other thing is, sometimes I explain it but the book lands somewhere between Chicken Soup for the Soul, Think and Grow Rich, and The Secret. Because all these components of the spirituality. So the tagline of my book is Sacred Whispers, Bold Moves, and the Courage to Become. Because we have to get through things with gumption, even if everything inside us screams stop. But when we do that, that shows the courage that we can become our next greater self. And that is what my podcast is about. And I did an anthology of books where I share stories from other leaders. And so I just want to plug that. That's Become Empowered. That is an anthology that became a #1 Amazon bestseller. And now I'm working on the Become Empowered Entrepreneur. I just opened up new applications looking, for entrepreneurs who want to share their story so other people can learn from it and other people can get inspired. Hey, I can do that. I can step through that challenge in my business, or I want to start a business. Is this right for me? And all of this is what the next book and the co-authors or contribute authors sharing.
Well, we've come to that time in the show where we actually are wrapping it up. So, Sabine, why don't we go ahead and give you 45 seconds in addition, and your link is going across the bottom. So, talk to us about that.
Sure. Well, let me continue with what I said there. I work with entrepreneurs and business professionals as a speaking coach, as a confidence and communication coach. So of course, they can always get in touch with me on my calendar. Just go to talktosabine.com. But when you see the slide here, you can apply also for my upcoming book. And it's a process of you fill out an application form, then there would be a conversation because it's handpicked by me, because I want to make sure that this is the right fit. And so, yeah, look forward to getting to know you.
Awesome. Love it. Love
To
it.
know
Thank you.
you, getting to know all about you. Sorry, I love theater.
Dr. Andrea, you're up.
Yeah, this show today. Thank you, Sifu and Sabine, allowed me to realize that my friend is so right. You talking about your book and what it's connected to, I'm like, holy shit! I'm friends with. Yeah, we can't say that word on the show. Don Green of the Napoleon Foundation, Think and Grow Rich. Sharon Lecter, who did did some of the books and stuff with Napoleon Hill. Jack Canfield and Mark Victor Hansen. These are all people that I know. These are people that I have their phone numbers I can call to. I know a lot of people in the secret, and as my friends so it's moments like this I realize, okay, my friends are right. Why am I not stepping up to the things that I can do and who I am? So I'm Dr. Andrea Adams Miller, the Red Carpet Connection, and I have a Rolodex of 75,000 people. And so connection is very important to me. And these are people that I've met, that I know, that know me. And I come across real and authentic. And if you're not, then you're not somebody, then you have a star in my book. You have a star in a book not to connect to people. And if you want to get something done and you don't want to do it like now, then don't call me, because I make stuff happen like nobody's business. And that can be scary for people because they're not ready to dig in that fast and make things happen, practically in a blink of an eye. So if that's what you want to do, reach out to me.
Sifu, I must say, you are just amazing how you bring people together. So, Andrea, just the theater connection and everything we had. So I think we have more conversations going forward.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I want to thank you both, incredible young ladies that you took the time out to be here with us today. Dr. Andrea Adams Miller, I love the fact that you're my co-host, and we've been doing this show for quite some time, and I know we have great other shows to come up. I'm Sifu Rafael. It's easy to connect with me. My website is easy, sifurafael.com. And, I help people get on stages. I put people on stages, either virtual or in person. But the most important thing is I help people find out their true worth, because God put you here for a reason. Let's find out what it is. Reach out to me and we'll chat. All right, everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you, ladies. God bless you, and we will see you guys next time. Take care, everybody.